Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Get Wealthy Wednesday. My name is over. The purpose of Get Wealthy Wednesday is to increase the knowledge of building generational wealth by speaking with industry leaders within our community. Tonight's episode is thanks to more owned businesses. Let's see, make sure everybody can see me well. Everybody can see me. All right, that's great. All right. So tonight's episode is brought to you by More Owned Businesses. Go to moreownedbusinesses.com where they promote products and services by Black-owned businesses, making it easier to build and support our community from within. Also, special thanks to The Sanctuary. Check out thesanctuary.com where they provide the best essential oils and aromatherapy scents for all of your health and wellness needs. So tonight, we have the pleasure of welcoming Natasha Labbe, and she is the co-owner of Labbe Insurance Agency. All right, let's get her in here. Hey, Natasha, how are you?
Hello. I'm well. How about you?
I'm doing great. So, as I was mentioning, Natasha is one of the co-owners of one of the premier insurance agencies here in the DMV. So thank you for coming here. Like I said, I wanted to make sure we get you on here. The last couple of episodes, we've been talking about a lot of things, crypto, Forex, stocks, all these different things that can build or help us build generational wealth. And one of the reasons why I found that, I wanted to talk to you is because insurance is another key role. It has another key role in building and maintaining generational wealth, but a lot of people don't see it that way. So I want to, just start off, figuring out who you are and what you do, and you can start with that.
Well, thank you, Brandon, for having me on your show. I really appreciate you extending the invitation. Hi, everyone. My name is Natasha Labbe, and I am an insurance advisor / expert. I'm also co-owner of the Labbe Insurance Agency located in Silver Spring, Maryland. And I like to consider us to call ourselves the one-stop shop where we can help you with all your insurance needs. So I'm very passionate about insurance. I think it's very important to have a conversation about financial protection and also understanding the coverages that you have in place. So I think it's super important, and I'm very happy to be here to talk about that.
Okay, great. So this is a family business, right? So how long has it been around?
It is. It was the company started from my wonderful dad. A little background about him. He was born in the beautiful island of Haiti and was an entrepreneur since the very beginning. So in Haiti, as a young man, he had a gas station. He then had a grocery store. And then he came to the United States for a better life and eventually opened up the Labbe Insurance Agency in 1976.
Oh, wow.
So it's been around for over 40 years.
Right.
I have been a part of the agency since the day I was born, but as an official agent, licensed, ready to sell, ready to tell you about insurance since 2013.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you had no choice type of thing. It was like this, that type of thing.
You would say that. I did have a choice.
Right.
My dad is super, I tell everybody he's one of my best friends. And he always gave me the freedom to pick whatever I wanted to do. He never felt like I had to be limited. He always told me that the world was my oyster. The only thing he really pressed upon was you got to stay healthy and you have to have education. So outside of that, it felt very organic to work with him, but it was never, I did have a choice. Okay, and the choice I gladly made.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just messing with you. Like I come from a long family of entrepreneurs as well, and once you get into the family business, then it's like, guess what? you know what, you already know what you're doing. You know how you're spending your summers. You know how you're doing everything, and you either follow in the footsteps or go far away from left. As far as you can. So no, that's all I'm asking. It was like I know I had a choice too, and I did the exact same thing. So I stayed with the family business, and our family had grocery stores and all type of stuff like that. So I did a lot of those things when I was growing up too. So all right, so obviously you've been doing this since 2013. So that's what, 7 years. So
Yep.
you're probably well versed in all the insurance lingo and all of that good stuff, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
All right.
And then I think one of my talents is being able to take complex concepts and putting them into simple terms. So, a lot of times when people think about insurance, it feels very abstract. It feels very cumbersome. The words, it's kind of hard to understand. But it's something that I'm good at. So it feels very organic to be in this industry.
Okay. Yeah. That's great. Like I said, there's a lot of things that a lot of people don't really understand about insurance. They know they need it, but they don't really understand like everything that it is, right? So I know you have a lot of different services that you provide, not just like the normal things that people think of, like life insurance or whatever, right? So what other services does your company provide?
Great question. So again, we're a one-stop shop for all your insurance needs. So we provide insurance coverage that goes from auto insurance, homeowners insurance, renters insurance. For the business owners out there, we can provide protection for your business in the form of general liability coverage, workers' compensation, as well as commercial auto, as well as life insurance. So and I think it's important, one of the key missions of my agency is to really educate people about what they're buying and what they're doing, because that will empower you to make smart financial decisions. And so I think that's super important. So, the key thing with my agency is education so that you can make smart decisions.
Right. So you actually touched on something, because a lot of people that I come in contact with, and a lot of people who are in either on YouTube world or in Periscope world, are either small business owners. And I know a lot of them don't really think about that when they're starting to get into business. They don't really think about that small business or that business insurance that they need. What exactly, is that? And can you expound on that a little bit?
Yeah. So for the business owners out there, it's really important that when you're going into this venture, which is very exciting, but to make sure that you have coverage, right? So a lot of times, I'm an entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur, and we know that getting things set into place, it's a lot of anxiety, it's a lot of money, it's a lot of time, and you want to make sure that all your hard work is not in vain if something wants to happen, so that you have that, so that your business and your finances are protected. So a lot of times, for example, if you decide to open a store, right? A lot of requirements for landlords is to have general liability coverage, which means liability coverage in the event you were held liable, which is synonymous for at fault for some type of loss or damage. So if you have a company and all of a sudden somebody comes to your shop and they slip and fall, you would be considered liable for that. And so you would want protection for that. There's all types of liability coverage, but the idea is that you're protecting yourself in the event you were held at fault for a damage, a loss, somebody getting hurt. So having that in place so that, if you have insurance in place, it's going to financially protect you so that somebody isn't coming at you directly. So insurance is financial protection. So if I was to, instead of me, for example, with auto insurance or general liability insurance, if I was at fault for something, what you're paying insurance companies to do is to financially protect you. To say, hey, if you're liable, if you were at fault for something, we're going to pay on your behalf. So it's really, really important to have.
Okay, yeah. So that actually goes outside of your LLC coverage and everything else, right? That goes on. That's pretty much like on top of I know that, sometimes when you have that LLC, especially as a business owner, some people think that that's the only coverage that they need, the only protection that they need, and don't necessarily need additional business insurance. Now,
So an LLC or a corporation is an entity type.
right,
So again, somebody could, if the idea is having insurance is having that entity protected. So depending on what the financial status of the company is, that's, if you're just starting out and you don't have too much money in the bank, or you have saved but you don't have insurance in place, your business is basically very exposed, and you
right,
want to prevent that. So if you're
yeah,
just starting a business and you have maybe a couple grand or no grand in your business,
yeah, no,
and then you are found at fault for something because of negligence and accident, take for example, if you have commercial auto insurance and you lend the car that's meant for the business, and somebody drives and has an accident, whoever that car is titled to is going to be financially responsible. So
right,
if you have an accident, you don't have commercial auto, and they're suing, whatever your business name is, and you don't have that financial protection, you're really putting your business at jeopardy. And that
right,
applies with workers' compensation. That also applies with general liability. So you really want to put yourself in a position where, in the event there is an exposure or there isn't a risk, that you are protected. Because basically, the relationship with insurance companies is an uneven financial agreement. Hey, you pay us this much money a month, and in the event of something happening outside the norm, we're going to pay a greater amount of money, so that does not have to come out of your pocket. So hence the idea of financial protection. So as your business grows, you want to make sure that you have financial protection in place so that your business is protected either in the beginning or in the end and throughout.
right, exactly. I think that's the key point that a lot of people don't really think about, especially when they're starting off and starting a business, and they're just thinking, okay, I need to go in there, I need to make money, but they're not thinking about the liabilities and everything else that comes along with it.
And one more thing about that. I have the opportunity, my agency, I work with multiple carriers. So what that means is I'm a non-captive agent, as opposed to somebody who might work for an Allstate or a State Farm. They work under the umbrella of one carrier, and then you have to fit under that one umbrella, right?
Right.
So with that being said, I work with a multitude of carriers and that puts me in a better position to say, hey, this company is going to meet your needs as opposed to this other company,
Okay.
So I have a large array of carriers that I can really tailor the needs to everybody's different services or businesses.
Right. Now, is it only local? I mean, I know you're in the Maryland area, in the DMV area. So do you just pretty much work with people who are in this area, or is it ability to branch out to other states and cities?
For the most part, I am licensed. So in order to become an agent, you have to get a state license, and I have my license in life insurance, my license for property and casualty, which is auto, home, business insurance,
Right.
is in the District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia.
Okay.
With some of my life carriers, I can write life insurance in other states.
Okay.
So that depends on the circumstances, but in terms of coverage for auto, anything under the umbrella of property and casualty, I am only licensed in District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure, just in case, because a lot of the people that's on here are from all over. So I want to make sure that we're reaching everyone that you possibly can, just so if maybe people can reach out to you for like a consultant, something like that, and they'll just be able to reach out to talk to you or something like that, even though you may not be able to write the.
And again, going back, I really like having these conversations, and I'm a firm believer that, like, even if I have a conversation with somebody and it doesn't result in a sale, that opens the door to something else. And if I can provide somebody with some advice that really protects their business or puts them a step ahead in their in their life, whether it's being an entrepreneur or life insurance. I'm really happy to do that. I think, again, the key thing is like really educating people on topics that seem very abstract. And if I'm able to help, I'm more than happy to help. Now, I don't know all the different laws and legalities of every different state, hence my license is in certain states, but I can give general information about insurance.
Right, exactly. Because sometimes, especially within our community, we have a lot of questions, because maybe we don't know anything about it. What's the difference between, term insurance, whole life, all that great stuff that a lot of people just probably kind of like skip over. They don't really know the difference or don't really understand which one is may benefit them in the long run. Those type of things. So I understand that you have a lot of you have a lot of knowledge, and that you can easily be able to disseminate that type of information that goes pretty much across the board.
Yeah. Again, it's something that I like to talk about. It's something that I'm very knowledgeable about. It's something I'm very passionate about. And I'm a talker, so I like talking to people. I mean, you have to be a talker to be in this field.
Right.
So if anybody who knows me knows I'm definitely a chatty person. So again, the industry lends itself to my talents, and my talent is to talk.
Right. Exactly. You got to be able to talk if you want to sell, right?
Yeah. So, you also have to be able to talk to educate.
Right. Exactly. Well, it's just education, sales. It's the same thing, because sometimes people don't know what they don't know, and they don't know what they need, right? So sometimes you're able to sell and educate at the same time, right?
Yeah. I mean, but at the end of the day, everybody's selling something.
Right. Exactly. I mean, that's the name of the game, right? I mean, we live in a capitalist country, or whatever you want to call it now. So that is one aspect I want to touch on, that with this whole COVID situation, how is that affecting the insurance company, and do you see spikes or declines or any of that because of everything that's going on? I understand that possible death rates and everything else is going, it's probably sending certain things through the roof. How are you addressing that with Labbe Insurance?
It is definitely an unprecedented time, and it's a very interesting time to be in the industry. But everybody's affected. Everybody's affected by this. So one of the cool things is, when I bring a company into my agency, so I have to decide who am I going to bring into my portfolio. And I'm really excited about some of the carriers who have really stepped up their initiatives and their support of the community during this time. So one of my carriers is Erie Insurance, and they're phenomenal property and casualty company. They also offer life insurance. And what's awesome about them during this time, and a lot of insurance carriers are doing this. And if your insurance carrier has not, then you need to switch.
Right.
Basically, how this has impacted the auto industry is there are less people on the roads.
Right.
Which means less accidents, which means you're paying this money for a risk that has significantly declined. Right. So the insurance company, so with Erie, which I think is awesome, they are actually writing out checks, and my clients have been calling me. They're so happy because they're getting 5% of their annual premium. So the premium, in case people don't know, the premium is how much you pay a month. It's your bill, right? So your annual premium is how much you pay annually. And so Erie is saying, hey, we're going to give you 5% of that premium back, and they're going to write you a check and mail out a check for that.
Okay.
So that's a really awesome aspect of it, is that the carrier is seeing that people are in a financial crunch, and they're saying, hey, let's give you some financial relief. On top of that, they're saying, hey, you can defer payments, and we can divvy out the payments in a longer term. So, you might not pay for the next 3 months, and then they're going to take the total premium and then divide it for the rest of the term of the policy.
Right. Okay.
So that is so super, super awesome. Also with Erie, they have the giving back. So I'm purchasing gift cards for local businesses that are really impacted by COVID-19. Right. And Erie is matching me. So anything that I buy, these gift cards, they're matching what I'm buying so that I can provide some financial relief to some of the businesses out there. So that's an awesome aspect of it. Yeah. Now, how does this relate to life insurance? Right. So what I tell people is, if this wasn't the time to think about life insurance, time is now. Right. COVID-19 is something that is evolving before our eyes, and how it affects our economy, how it affects our work, how we function. It affects everything at this point in time. And so what I find interesting with life insurance, and a lot of people are calling that, actually my life insurance calls have gone up because people are very concerned, and as they should be. Right. And so the question is, will they cover me? And, now for some of my companies, I work with American Amicable for life insurance and some other companies. And now they're requesting a COVID-19 questionnaire asking about your exposure. Right. It was not 3 months ago. This questionnaire did not exist. Right. So that tells me that the industry is taking this into consideration with your application, right? If I can't give you a firm answer like, hey, this is going to affect your rate, or it's not. I just know that something that was not considered is now being considered. Right. And because the longevity of the virus is in question, right? So if you get it, how will that affect how you're rated? How does that affect your health insurance? How does it affect your life insurance? Right. I don't have the answer to that, because the answer is developing right now as we're speaking. Yeah, exactly. So my recommendation is to get ahead of the curve and apply for life insurance yesterday. Sure. Exactly. Because you're just putting yourself in a better position, so that something that could affect your rating, they don't have any structures in place to say, hey, if you had it, it's going to affect your rate, right? So, like, for example, people that have underlying conditions, if you have asthma, high blood pressure, diabetes, and then you've had something that theoretically could weaken your lungs, right? How does that affect how you are rated for your life insurance? And I don't have the answer to that, except to highly recommend getting ahead of the curve and applying now. I can't express it anymore. Because right now, particularly the fact that everybody's financially impacted, right? Right. So whether you have a one person income, a 2-person income, or multiple people income, if somebody has exposure to this virus and the unfortunate happens, right? How does that affect everybody financially? And so that's the key thing to remember when we're talking about, life insurance, is how it's going to impact people. And now we're in a situation where we have a very dangerous virus that's out there, and every time you turn on the news, every time you see on the internet, like, the death toll goes up. Right. And I'm not trying to strike fear in people. I think the whole idea is prevention and thinking ahead. And I think it's super, super important. Yeah, no, it's a necessary talk right now, because you just never know exactly what's going on. And, as you're saying, I've been on the same tank of gas for maybe the last 6 weeks, so yeah, I can see how, maybe my premium and my auto insurance can go down, but because of everything going on with COVID in a different way, as for health insurance, life insurance, all of those other things, you can, if you're not in a plan already, and who knows if it's going to, morph a little bit, because, just because of everything that's going on now. So you just never know. So if you don't have a plan already, I'd definitely suggest that you get one. Exactly. Because some of the things that, pretty much why I'm putting this on is a lot of people don't think of things until it's too late, or they're never, they never really thought about it or understood how this can impact your life, impact the life of your family, understanding how generational wealth becomes a key component. Insurance becomes a key component of generational wealth, because now you're not, scrambling around at the last minute trying to get a GoFundMe
or something to pretty much replace the insurance policy that you never had, right?
So I always tell people this: life insurance is the pillar of financial planning. It is super, super, super important.
Right.
And I think that people have a very abstract thought of what it looks like. There's so many times where I talk to people and they don't know that there are different types. They'll come to me and tell me, "Oh, it's too expensive."
Right.
Have you gotten a quote? There's different options out there. So they'll say, "Oh, the process takes too long." And I think that it's an opportunity for you to learn something new and not make assumptions about it. And I think the key thing with life insurance is really getting together with somebody. I would recommend me. And really getting with somebody that can explain things to you so that your insurance so that you have the right coverages in place, so it doesn't feel scary, so that it's something that you can understand.
All right. I'm going to put this information back up here on the screen so they know exactly how to reach you.
Yes.
So yeah, I would definitely suggest thinking a little bit more about your finances. Because I'll put it this way. So some of us don't think about life insurance because we may feel we're not in a financial spot to leave anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I think that's one of the key things. Like, look, I don't have anything, but like I said, it's more, you have more than you know. And
well, yes, you have more than you know. And I think when you think about life insurance, I think one of the key things, it's about preventing financial hardship.
Right.
It really, because I'm in the industry, it really kills me when I see GoFundMe pages, because it's like you've already lost somebody that you weren't expecting to lose, and that is so painful.
Right.
I've had friends, like they lost people and it was out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden they're putting GoFundMe, and now you are hoping that people will contribute to something because it's a financial hardship.
Right.
Funerals or final expense costs in the state of Maryland range between $8,000 to $14,000. That's a lot of money to come up with.
Right.
And so just thinking ahead and finding something, a key part of being an insurance advisor is, paying attention to what your needs are, as well as paying attention to your budget, and to make something that is financially affordable and sustainable for you. It's not going to serve me or you to sell you something that you can't afford.
Right.
So it's very important to have life insurance, because it prevents financial hardship and it puts you in a better financial position, so that you can continue paying the mortgage, you can continue paying for childcare, you can continue paying for groceries. A lot of times when, one of the big jokes that I hear all the time when I hear people getting life insurance is, "Oh, she's going to push me down the stairs for the life insurance," as if life insurance is kind of this, scary lottery, I guess, where you, but the reality is it should give you a peace of mind knowing that if something happened to you, that the people you leave behind are going to be okay. A lot of times when I start my meetings with people, I ask them, if something happened to you suddenly, would people be financially impacted?
Exactly.
And then most of the time, because they're coming to see me for life insurance, they say yes.
Right.
And I say, "Well, do you care?" And most of the time they say yes. And if those answers are both yes, then you need life insurance in place. I mean, it's a great opportunity to have money for college. It's a great opportunity for a down payment on a home. It's a great opportunity for to start a business, but it's also to help people keep the lights on.
Right.
It's also, for example, a lot of people, families, they'll co-sign for them. And a lot of people think it's not a big deal for me to co-sign, and if you were to happen, so like I've had a situation where a parent's co-signed on a loan for their child, and then unfortunately the child passed. And then therefore that loan, on top of having to pay for a funeral, they had to pay for the loan that, for school that they didn't even finish because the loan was already taken out.
Right.
So there's so many dynamics to life insurance. It's something that's super important and feels complex, but I promise if you come to talk to me, you'll enjoy the conversation. Again, I'm very chatty, so I'll make it pleasurable, but it's something that is super important. It's something I'm very passionate about. It's something that I think that once you get over the hump that it's scary or I don't need it, and you have an openness to understand why it's important, you'll really have a different outlook on it and understand the importance of it and why it's important to have it.
Exactly. And like you said, it's not necessarily for the people who's dying. Unfortunately, it's for the people that they leave behind. It's the problem with creating generational wealth or understanding about it. When we have these deaths in the family or these unforeseen circumstances, we start back at zero. If we were not at zero already, we start behind zero. Because now we have.
I was saying this. Not only does it prevent financial hardship, it doesn't put you a step behind. Right? It's like now on top of, oh my God, I'm going through this emotional pain of burying somebody that I wasn't expecting to bury at this point in time. Now I got to figure out how to do certain things that initially involve two incomes.
Exactly.
If you buy a house with your husband or you buy a house with your wife and the loan was based on a 2-person income, can you afford that home? In addition to all the other expenses that you have in place, you don't want to, when you lose your significant other, you lose somebody, you don't want to have to also uproot your life because you can't afford it anymore.
Exactly.
I not at times when when I've had to work with people through a death claim, it has given me a sense of peace that I could do something for them. You know what I mean? Like that they don't have to worry about how I'm going to pay this and that they have something like that some financial support during that time, so that they're not struggling, to make ends meet on top of the emotional heartbreak of losing somebody.
Yeah, I was going to say, you already have that mental strain on you.
Yeah.
That emotional strain of everything else of, losing, your significant other or someone else in your family. And then now you have to worry about, keeping the lights on, keeping food in the house, doing everything else, and still burying that person. You haven't even paid for that yet. So, like I said, so a lot of these things, a lot of these situations that a lot of people don't think of to say, insurance plays a key role, in establishing in this in wealth building, and understanding that. So
it puts people in a much better position if it's in place. So I couldn't recommend it anymore. And I think the key thing is finding somebody that you can talk to and help you understand it. And that's what my job is. That's my job is to make things understandable and put things in simple terms. Right.
Exactly. And it's just looking at things over here. Yeah. So that's great. I'm really glad that you came on here and you gave us all this information. It's the best way to contact you via this. I put your IG up here. I also have your website up there. Is those the best two ways to contact you? Or
if whether it's on Facebook or IG, if you put Labbe Insurance, if you just put Labbe Insurance either in Google, if you put Labbe Insurance Agency on Facebook, Labbe Insurance on Instagram, you will find my page. You can, and also my email is Labbe Insurance Labbe Insurance Agency @gmail.com. So feel free to call me, feel free to email me. All my contact information is listed on all those platforms. So I would love to talk to you about the different options that are out there. And I do want to emphasize that for the people that think that it's going to be expensive, or that it's something out of their range,
Right.
You don't think that way. There's options for everybody. The same way you can make a way to have auto insurance, you can make a way to protect your life. The same way you can make a way to have insurance on your cell phone, you should make a way to have insurance on your life.
Exactly. It's all about those drops, right? Crack screens and all.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you, Natasha. We appreciate you for being here. Thank you for all the great knowledge that you dropped, the gems that you gave us on insurance. Like I said, there's a lot of things that, a lot of us don't think about. We think about some of the normal ones, maybe life insurance, maybe car insurance. But, home insurance, sometimes people, they kind of like skip on that if they can. Sometimes it's kind of wrapped into the mortgage and everything else, right? But sometimes.
Depending on what type of loan, you can't really. Most people have an FHA loan, which you have to have homeowners insurance. But I think when you're on the topic of like property and casualty insurance, it's really important that you, when you're checking, make sure to check your different options and like what the coverage includes, and being aware of what important coverages need to be in place.
Right. Oh, okay. Well, see.
And I'm also happy to talk to people about auto and home insurance.
Oh, really? I'll see. Exactly.
And renters insurance, whatever you need. I tell you, I'm a one-stop shop. What you need, I got all the insurance you need.
All right. That's great. So, hey, make sure y'all go check her out. Labbe Insurance Agency we're pretty much everywhere. Go find her, So, and also you can email her as well, labbeinsuranceagency@gmail.com.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Brandon. I really enjoyed this, and for using your platform so I could talk about something that's super important to me and my life's work. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. I appreciate you for being here. Thank you for coming. Thank everyone for showing up, and all the comments and everything that I see. I'm trying to look at everything. I got YouTube over this way. I got Periscope over here. Everyone's doing great. Everyone had some. I'm sure they had some great comments for you, and also some questions. Some of the questions I didn't add. They'll have to reach out to you for those. Because I don't want to put you on the spot.
I'm looking to talk to you.
Right. So, all right. So we appreciate you for being here. Thank you everyone for being here. Join us next week while we talk to Natalie Pierre-Lewis about business creation and intellectual property. So I know you know her well, and
she's a great person to talk to. So if you're looking to start a business, she will give you all the gems that you need. I promise.
Exactly. So make sure y'all are back here with us next Wednesday for Get Wealthy Wednesday. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, New Network, Twitter, and YouTube at IMF Brandon. Make sure I get that up there. If you found this show beneficial and you want to support, you can also support us at Cash App, More Owned, or you can go and donate via crypto on fredbrandon.info. I appreciate everyone who was putting that information in the chat today. So if y'all have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me, fredbrandon.info. If you want to be a guest or sponsor, and we can talk about your company as well, we can get you. All of that information is going to be on fredbrandon.info. Thank you again for being here, Natasha, and I will see you soon.
All right. Bye, Brandon. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening. Stay safe.
Definitely. You too. Stay safe.